Hello, and welcome to Gunpla Reviews, where it's myself versus my shelf. Over 200 model kits and a queue of reviews to do. This week's challenger is the GF13050 NSW Nobel Gundam, the Neo-Sweden mobile fighter from Mobile Fighter G Gundam via the Year of Our Bandai Lords, 2011. This more or less marks kind of the start, not the actual start, but the big influx, the resurgence of my interest in Gunpla. Because I'd always, hoped, I'd gotten back in after a few years of moving to where I live now, to Texas Colony. And got into building again, and it was when I really started shopping around online rather than at conventions, and when I'd found Hobby Search. And this was the first model kit that I ever pre-ordered. This I know for certain, unquestionably, because I saw it was happening. And I was like, I must have this now. Click, 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 pre-order, click, 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 click. But I digress. Let us talk about a model kit. On the back of our model, we have action poses, showing off the gimmick with the extra swivel in both the waist and the hips, the very unique form of the feet, a swivel that occurs in the hair, posing the ability for God Gundam to even carry Nobel. Ooh. The accessories, and a blurb about the Nobel Gundam itself, plus traditional color guide. Inside of our first pages here, we have more specs about Nobel Gundam itself, using the beam ribbons, the details in all the bows, the clamp to weigh the ribbon down, and our color side of our manual. Huh. Don't have those hands. I digress. I also don't have a God Gundam. And traditionally, the inside of our black and white assembly has our runners. Also came with an included stand. I no longer have that. We have torso assembly, followed by the head, going into the arms, the feet, then over to the legs, followed by the hair and head, full assembly here, and then we have the stand assembly, and how exactly these plastic ribbon effect pieces work. You would peel them out. You have 3 different sizes, 3 different rings, as well as 2 tabs, strips. That's the word I want. 2 strips. The strips, you have to fold the tip into the beam saber handle, which is very unique, exclusive, and folding the tab into the bottom in order to weigh it down. With that said, let's get into articulation. Of course, you're not going to get an exorcist twist here because the head most absolutely blocks the hair. But the hair, while you could press it in, it does come out a degree. See that gap there? So you can get a little bit of swing before you drop it and falls out. We know how clumsy I am. This is tradition. This is standard. It's not normal if I don't drop a piece. But yes, it does swivel and swing around. So you are able to at least turn the head or get a more windswept look of the hair going. That's actually really nice. I digress. We're going to go ahead and get the hair out of the way. Set that aside. Or it's radiator fins. Radiator fins. But we're going to call it hair regardless. At the arm, the shoulder itself will go up to here, followed by the arm this high. We get very high in there, full bicep rotation. At the elbow, we only get about 110 degrees. Standard ball joint at the wrist. This is one of the mini hands. We have the peace sign here, with arms out to side. We get, as advertised, or a lie. Okay, there it goes. If you pull it up just a little bit, you get a nice volume of wobbling here. Just a little tiny back and forth. At the waist, if you want to bump this front skirt, you can go full exorcist, but you are bumping the front skirt there at the corner, so you'll kind of nudge it out. The front skirts here, let's take a second. These are non-separable, and of course that means I dropped that front piece on the floor. One moment. Okay, now we've got that back in place. Our side skirts here, up and down here. No butt flap action, but you do have a bow. Oh my, I've noticed. Oh well, I'll mess with that later. I do want to point out that there is one sticker around the neck for this collar. Now while in the front it's maintained, it's kind of fallen loose in the back. What a shame. We'll talk about stickers soon. At the leg, you get more than your standard split. Because look at that. Look at those joints. That's a mega split. That is premium split value. You get no back kick, about 100 degrees at the knee. You do get full thigh twist. Then here at the foot, you have two balls. You have one ball here, which is very prone to falling out because that's all that is. You have one here, but as well, you get another point so that you can get a full bend on your foot. You just kind of have to finagle it to your liking. Let's do that little squish back in place. I feel like the hair kind of holds the head in place. It makes it less wobbly. I know this is a kit that is 9 years old now, and I did build it in 2011, I assure you. So it is a little stiff and a little old, and it shows its signs of my poor building skill at the time. So let's point out a few stickers here. We've got, of course, your head camera. You've got your eyes, the aforementioned sticker around the neck. This white line here across the Sailor Fuku that goes all the way to the back is one solid sticker. It goes all the way around. This gem on the front, also a sticker. And lastly, you've got this thigh strap here, this girder. That's all one nice strap. I'm glad that at least this one continues to look good after many, many years. No back of head camera. You can't see it. You wouldn't be able to. There we go. We have Nobel Gundam. And as mentioned before, we have our beam effect strips. Now I've only ever really used one, so I've only got one folded. As we will see here, our beam sabers are proprietary. They are rounded, but with a slot down the middle, precisely for putting these in their place, like so. And this is a little wobbly, but it still holds up. As for the rest, we have one medium-sized coil, or excuse me, a long tight coil, a medium-sized single loop, and a large size double loop, all of which will require bending one way or the other. I believe, let me investigate here. No. If you don't fold your end, please focus. It's really not going to stay. So, like so, you'll want to slot that in. And then as you hold this, and it is very, you do have to handle it with care because it is very prone to twisting whichever way it feels like going. At the end, we're going to go ahead and just pop this in place for now. At the end, we have this piece, which is used to weigh it down when you have it up on a stand. Now, you don't need to fold it to get it in here because it'll more or less kind of, enough of it stays in that it'll hold its position. Of course, now it is flipped and rotated and everything looks silly. Goodness. Making me look bad on camera, as is the tradition. So with that, we have one last accessory to point out, and that is this piece here. Nobel Gundam has an exclusive action base adapter. Now I still had this attached to my action base too because otherwise this is meant to fit exactly on the stand that it comes with. On the 3mm peg here it doesn't quite stay, so what I've done is I added a little bit, I think, of nail polish on this end here. Please quit focusing on the background, focus on the foreground. Thank you. And so it's thickened up and it's nice and sturdy because otherwise it will twist freely and that looks kind of bad, especially when you're trying to pose it. And that will slot right down into there. You can just barely see it past the hair. Put the hair slightly out of the way. You'll plug that in, perhaps. Take it under advisement. And you are free to twist and coil your ribbon however you see fit. Unfortunately, there's no way and not a whole lot of reason to attach more than one coil at a time. You do get 2 beam sabers, so if you really want to go ham, you at least have that much. I appreciate this smaller set of coils a bit more. Why am I struggling to get this in here? There it goes. I appreciate that a bit more. It's got a bit more effect on it, but unfortunately because it is so thin, you can't project it outward, which was something that was seen in the series as part of Domon's training. Lastly, and I almost forgot, but we are still in the accessory section, you have additional hands. Already you have your holding hand, you have a peace symbol, you have the other holding hand here, you have 2 flat open hands like so. Now if you've built yourself any number of crossbone Gundams, you'll see that these smaller hands are very similar to those. Matter of factly, I do believe, I do declare, that in the crossbone Mao, that set of hands comes from these sets of hands because you also get the peace hand that comes with here. Now, ZEON absolutely says, fund it. This is still a high quality, high grade kit, considering its age. And because we have yet to get a master grade of any more G Gundam units, this is the best thing you're going to get. It's easily one of the bases for a lot of Mecha Musume models that have come into time. You could go to Google and find yourself any number of pictures where people have customized Nobel Gundam into all 5 Sailor Scouts, as is the inspiration. But stay tuned, Because not only is next time more model kit reviews and more giant robot action, we'll talk about the Berserk mode. SIEG ZEON.